I'm sure everyone has heard of the bubonic plague. But what about the pneumonic plague? Well, unfortunately, right now, there are many confirmed cases in China. And this should concern most of us. Let's get into it. So, most people, have heard of the bubonic plague, but not the pneumonic plague. What's the difference? Well, the bubonic plague is essentially the one that most people know about. It's carried by fleas and ticks and things like that. And pneumonic plague is also. But there's one key difference that makes the pneumonic plague a lot more deadly. It just is. And that's because it is transmitted from person to person, just like the flu or any other type of disease, like somebody coughing, bodily fluids, all of these things. And China has already confirmed multiple cases, and it's been going on since, well, they had one in May, but now they've had 4 in the last week or so, and that's just the official stories. This is absolutely being suppressed. There has been a few articles that have been able to get out. So as this article outlines, the real reason to panic about China's plague outbreak is not so much the disease that's worrisome, it's how the Chinese government is responding to it, which I find a little ironic, being that it's essentially been done the same way here. But let's continue. The Chinese government's response to this month's outbreak of the plague has been marked by much fear, which history suggests it's entirely appropriate. Yeah, because a whole lot of people died from it last time. But not all fear is the same, and Beijing seems to be afraid of the wrong things. Rather than being concerned about the germs and their spread, the government seems mostly motivated by the desire to manage public relations about this disease. On November 3rd, Ling Jing, a doctor from Beijing Hospital, I don't even know how to say the middle thing, the capital's key infectious disease treatment and quarantine center, attended to a middle-aged man who's struggling to breathe and his wife who was also running fever. The couple had been ailing for about 10 days by the time that Lee saw them. They had initially sought care at a hospital 250 miles north of China's capital in Inner Mongolia. So let's scroll down here. So far, so good for China's response. More ominous, however, was what happened next. Lee's WeChat, that's like a Twitter or whatever. So the doctor was posting about this. He was describing the couple, and it was quickly deleted. Meanwhile, the government official informed the World Health Organization about the cases, as it is required to, but not until November 13th, which was 10 days later, after it was reported by journalists. So the only reason they actually even went to the World Health Organization is because that doctor said something. If the goal was to avoid stirring panic at home, the effort may have been the opposite. In the absence of clarifying, calming information from their government, Chinese people have been venting in fear. Well, I would be too, especially whenever you look at what happened with the 2003 SARS incident, which authorities hid the fact that they had patients and even people that had already died of SARS for weeks in 2003. I don't think we ever even got a actual number on how many people ended up dying over that. But as we all know, the relations between US and China, although they are strained at the moment, doesn't mean that we don't have planes going in and out every single day. And being that this pneumonic plague is absolutely transpired by, droplets, coughing, and bodily fluids, and all of these things, it's absolutely something to be concerned about. China has actually already quarantined a couple hospitals, putting it completely on lockdown. And right now, this just came out where China is setting up checkpoints as the outbreak spreads. If it really was only 4 people, do you believe they'd be setting up checkpoints at the airports and other areas? China's a pretty big place. 4 people? No way. China has confirmed 4 plague cases in under 3 weeks, prompting authorities to introduce stop and search checkpoints on main roads. What? And scanners at airports in the attempt to stop the spread of the disease. Again, 4 cases. You think they'd be doing all of this? I don't think so. And they're even calling it the bubonic plague, which is false. It's the pneumonic plague. They are caused by the same bacteria, but this one, you can kind of make people think that you're only going to get it if you come into contact with fleas or get bit by a rat or something like that. And this isn't true. And with all the travel and all of the people in China and all of the trade that we still have, cargo ships coming in from China, flights, all of these things, this isn't good. On top of these stop and frisk zones that they have also implemented a protocol to where they are going to be exterminating rats and fleas which carry this disease. I don't know how you can exterminate that many in a huge city, one of the biggest city in the world. So that was launched just a couple days ago as the 4th patient was diagnosed. And this one, they're saying he was from Mongolia. They keep saying that it's pretty suspicious, y'all. They are definitely keeping this. Let me see. One man was treated for bubonic plague after he ate a wild rabbit, while the first 2 patients were diagnosed with the more fatal and contagious pneumonic strain. Okay, so they're conflating the 2, or maybe they have actually both of them, and that's even something more concerning. The World Health Organization warned the disease can be transmitted by droplets to other humans, and if not diagnosed and treated, it can be fatal. What's scary is it needs to be detected and treated within 24 hours of onset. Then we have this article right here, which talks about the quarantine, the blockade of this hospital that these 2 other patients were admitted to, but then they told the media that they actually were transferred to a different hospital. But what's very interesting is a medical student received an emergency notice from the school telling them to not go to the emergency room in the following weeks. So you know, this is China. It's gonna be essentially way too hard to get any real information out of there unless we have people that leave there and actually talk about it. So let's talk about the signs and symptoms so you can be prepared, especially if you are a person that travels a lot or if you're around a lot of people, because that's truly what, you know, prevention is always the main concern for anything. So the difference between pneumonic and bubonic plague, like I was saying, is they are caused by the same disease, the same bacteria, but one is a lot worse and it infects your lungs. You're gonna have fever, chills, kind of flu-like symptoms, which makes it so hard to diagnose. Even when they came in, the doctor didn't know, you know, what it even was when the first couple came in. And, you know, just make sure you're checking on your kids for those signs and symptoms, as vague as they may be. And always wash your hands. You know, stay away from crowded areas, just like I discussed whenever we talked about Ebola. Stay away from these crowded areas, trains, planes, casinos, huge, you know, parks, or, you know, like Disney or anything like that. I know it's hard, but especially touristy areas, places where the Chinese tourists may go and things like that, because prevention is going to be the only way to prevent yourself and your family from getting such a deadly disease. You know, this killed, what, millions of people? 1600s, but we had about 3 rounds of plague, and they say we are actually past due for another one. They believe that antibiotics and whatnot have helped that. I find it strange that just recently, within the last couple of days, these articles have come out saying that it was over-exaggerated. It really didn't kill that many people. This is so random. Why would they randomly put this out? Something to think about for sure. And then the History Channel put out this. Officials tried to deny it when it occurred last time. Are they trying to tell us something? Wherever they came from. But it killed a lot of people. And I've spoken about this before. Silver. And, you know, you can go through, it comes with a book, and you can actually read the book online also. This is going to help prevent your cells from actually taking in that bacteria. So, you know, how diseases work, they go into the cell and then they start ravaging things. But when you're using the silver, you're going to be able to ward off such things because your cells are essentially protected. I mean, am I saying this is 100%? Well, no, nobody can ever say that. But, you know, I've gone over the amazing things about this, and no, this is not that colloidal silver. This is different. This is structured alkaline, and it works differently, and it's absolutely phenomenal. I've been taking it for almost a year or something. When all the Ebola started and everything, I didn't get Ebola. No, but on a real note, I'm gonna have the link in my first pinned comments, and if you use that link, I think you get like 20% off of your first order, and you can get like the little set where you take a teaspoon of this every day. It just tastes like water essentially, and then well, it's got a little bit of a metallic taste. They have soap, lozenges, the gel, hand and body lotion. Just absolutely amazing. I actually used it on one of my sons today. Well, they take the silver too, but my son got something today, and I mean, I've never seen him like in that much pain. And I put the silver on it, and within a few minutes, he was just like, "It's better." I was like, "What? This is amazing." But anyway, guys, this is something we're just going to have to watch, and I will discuss it more as I get information. Oh, I wanted to remind y'all, here's an update on the couple from Fiji that I believe did get Ebola. It has been 10 months. I spoke with the family. They still have not received an answer from Fiji or the CDC. The CDC brought their bodies back. They still have not received an answer as to what the cause was. So this is absolutely being suppressed, and they will suppress anything else. It's sad, but it's true. You know, if you're from China or know anybody from China, let me know what you're hearing over there. I don't have to give out your name or anything, because I know how that is. But and if anybody else knows anything, y'all let me know. But anyway, guys, y'all have a wonderful day, and like, share, and subscribe.